So we just got done with the quarterfinal of the Champions League second leg, and man, was it entertaining. At least for the first day. The first day was very much a roller coaster. All right, let's just get into it. We're gonna start with Barcelona versus Dortmund. So this was a game that most people thought it was done and dusted. It was over. The fact that Dortmund lost 4-0 at Barcelona, there was just no way they were gonna come back. And we know for a fact that Barcelona is one of those teams that, they have a history of just letting people come back from a 4-goal deficit, right? But nevertheless, this is a season where we all know this is the best team in the Champions League. They're the favorites to win the Champions League. This is a team that has not lost a game in 2025, right? So they've been great. They're number one in their league, and they're 4 points away from the second place. So they're looking comfortable, right? And this week they played, and it wasn't the best game that they played this weekend, but nevertheless, they got the win, even though the goal came from an own goal. And the players were just not feeling it. You can tell they were so tired, right? But nevertheless, you just assume that's just one of those days for them. So coming in this game, you can at least hope that they would get 1 or 2 goals. That's what you're hoping for. And on the other side for Dortmund just played this weekend against Bayern, and they were great. They could have won. They really bounced back from getting defeated by Barcelona. So that for them to play against Bayern, the league leaders in their league, that's pretty good. Bayern is in first place. Dortmund's in 8th place right now. Okay, so this was kind of a little boost. And now, they kind of got a little confidence. That's what you were expecting. But nevertheless, you're still assuming that it's over. This tie, there's no way. It's not going to happen. This is not 2018. This is not 2017. We're done with that. Okay, this is a new era of Barcelona. This is not a team who's going to let a full goal deficit come back. They're not going to let that happen. There's no way. So anyway, so as the game is going on, off the bat, Dortmund apparently came to really play. If you look at the lineup, Barcelona didn't really come prepare. Not prepare in the sense of they weren't ready to play, but prepare in the sense of like Dortmund was going to go as hard as they did. For the left back, Blade wasn't playing. Gavi came in for Pedri. They were really going all out for it. If they can get 1 or 2 players to get rested, they were going to take advantage of that. And that's what Barcelona was doing. On the other end, Dortmund basically, if you can see their shape, they were attacking. They were like, we're going all out for this game. And that's basically what they did. From the kickoff of the ball, Dortmund was just on Barcelona's throat. I feel like Barcelona themselves were not prepared for it. It seems like Barcelona's approach to this game was, hey, we are 4 goals ahead. Let's just keep it the ball. There's no reason for us to rush and try to get a goal or anything. Let's just hold on to the ball and just pass it around. We're not trying to get injured. Let's not go all out. We are 4 goals ahead. That's what their approach felt like, okay? It didn't feel like a team that is known to just go at your throat. It was more like they were trying to just calm the game down. But when you don't have somebody like Pedri in the middle, it's very much hard to control the tempo of the game. You get what I'm saying? And that's basically the problem they had in this game, that Barcelona was trying to hold the tempo of the game. It just wasn't happening for them. So Dortmund was just at it, okay? And then 10 minutes into the game, Szczesny does what he does. I don't know why he goes in tackling the way he does. Like it was a penalty. It was a penalty. And like I said, I think Ter Stegen, one thing I like him better than Szczesny is because Ter Stegen will never dive in like that. Okay? Say whatever you want about Ter Stegen, but he will never give you a penalty like that. This dude is just going for the leg every time. It's so easy. It's so predictable every time. Why does he dive in like that? It's so annoying. So anyway, so they get a penalty. They score a penalty at the 10 minute of the game. And if most comeback usually starts when you score a goal in the first 10 minutes of the game. That's when you get really motivated. That's when you get riled up. And this atmosphere, specifically Dortmund, is like, it's always sold out. The Germans really love football, and they really show out, especially Dortmund fans. Dortmund fans are like some of the best fans in football, really. They all show out, and just the whole stadium just erupted, chants. It gets the people going, as they would say. So it got the players going. In their mind, they're thinking like, okay, we got a kickstart, and let's follow this momentum. And as the game is going on, you can feel that momentum really going. And as a Barcelona fan, you can... you're thinking, 1 goal, it's no big deal. It's fine. There's nothing. It's okay. We still got 3 more goals. There's no way Dortmund is going to score 3 goals. Okay? There's just no way without us scoring a goal on them. So the game is going on. And again, Dortmund is just at Barcelona's throat. On the other hand, when Barcelona gets the chance, the front 3, I never see them this sloppy. The passes were terrible. Lewandowski can't connect with Rafinha. Rafinha can't connect with Lamar. Lamar can't connect with Rafinha. It was just terrible. Lopez... he couldn't score anything. You know what I mean? The only good thing about Lopez was the fact that he held the ball. On the other hand, Lamar, Rafinha, they couldn't even hold the ball. The mistakes they were making was ridiculous. One ball, Rafinha could have just go straight at the goalkeeper. He couldn't. Somehow, the ball goes away from his foot. Another cross he was trying to make to Lamar. Lamar couldn't control the cross. It was absolutely insane seeing that. So the whole time I'm thinking, let's make sure they only have a 1-goal lead at the end of the first half at least. So luckily that's what happened. The first half ended with 1-goal lead. So from that point on, you're kind of feeling that there's just no way another half where they would score 3 goals and they couldn't score 2 goals in the first half. So that's kind of the only hope that I have, that we would just buy our time. At this point, I'm not even thinking that these guys are going to score a goal because of how they played in the first half. The first half was fully Dortmund side. So the second half starts and we start the same way. It feels like Flick didn't say anything to these players to motivate them on the second half because, again, the same thing. So if you look at the statistics of the game, Dortmund had 18 shots, 11 of them were on target. Barcelona had 7 shots, 2 on target. The second goal for Dortmund comes in 4 minutes in the second half. A great header from Grassi. So Grassi now has 2 goals in this game, okay? So, and this is a player who, obviously on the first leg, he had a lot of misses. So I'm sure he's also amped to score as much goals as he can to redeem himself. And he's having one of the best seasons of his life in the Champions League. He scored the most goal for an African player in the Champions League, I believe. I think he had 11 this season. So anyway, so the guy is having the time of his life right now, and he's on it. Like, he's not missing any goals. The penalty, he literally just chipped over and just under the post. That's how he scored the goal. That's confidence right there. So the second goal, he was just right at the goal, like at the goalkeeper. It felt like Barcelona was just trying to defend. They're still not attacking, and they're not a team who defends. Barcelona's a team that attacks. And this whole game, they were just defending. So the second goal comes, and you're thinking, hey, yo, wake up. Like, this is getting real. The crowd is going crazy. At this point, it's 2-4. So they only need 2 more goals, and we have a game on, right? So as the game is going, Dortmund's not slowing down at all. We're not making any changes yet. Finally, Barcelona midfielder came up with a great combination, right? And I would say out of everybody else in the midfield, De Jong was doing everything. De Jong was the best player in this game. Everybody else was terrible, okay? De Jong and Kubasi, I would say, were the best players in this game. So anyway, great connection from the midfielder to forward. Lopez makes a great run, and he crosses a great ball in there. And luckily, Dortmund scores on themselves. Okay, so now we are at 1-2. So at this point, you're thinking, okay, we can get a little sigh of relief. So the aggregate becomes 5-2. So at this point, you're like, okay, all right, they need another 3 goals to really make anything happen. We don't need to worry. And then as the time was ticking on, and that was a goal that basically simmered the whole game down as well. Even for Dortmund, even the Dortmund fans, they all kind of got quiet because they need 3 goals in less than 40 minutes. So that was going to be very hard for them, right? So anyway, as the game is going, we're making changes. Pedri finally comes in, get control of that midfield. Lamar gets subbed out because he was terrible, okay? And even Lewandowski, he should have been out. And by then, the game was kind of getting away from Dortmund. And eventually, they get another goal, okay? They get another goal somehow. And the goal they got was a bad clearance from Araujo. Now, Araujo or Martinez, who would you pick? I would pick Martinez any day, okay? Araujo is very aggressive. He's a great defender. But when it comes to just choice making, Martinez is better. And the fact that Martinez wasn't in this game, he was hugely missed, okay? I would have Martinez in my starting lineup than Araujo. I said it. It was just one of those bad clearances, and they get the third goal. At this point, it doesn't really matter because the game is gone, right? It's gone. They get their 3 goals. They won the game. Barcelona loses the game. It was fine. It was fine. They played terribly, but if they were going to lose any game, this is the game they should have lost. And this is the stage where they should have lost because Dortmund was the better team in any aspect, right? And I think Kubasi said it himself too. He was like, if we're going to lose any game, this is the stage of the game we should lose. And they can learn from this. Even Lewandowski said, you just never know in the Champions League. You can never think that everything is over. You can't just come in here playing 90% or 95%. You always have to play 100%. I wish he would have taken his own advice. Either way, Barcelona goes through. They're going to in the semifinal, and they'll be playing Inter Milan. All right, let's get to the Inter Milan and Bayern game. I think this was another game where it was straightforward, really. Bayern didn't win the first game. Again, Bayern's just not having the best season. Like I said, they have too many injuries. So they played at home and they lost at home. Now coming back here, they're coming to a place where it's very hard to win. It's just very hard to win. Inter Milan's a team that just knows how to defend right. Anyway, nevertheless, these are the stats of the game. Bayern had 20 shots, 6 on target. Inter Milan had 15 shots, 6 on target. Bayern had most of the possession, you would expect, because, for Inter Milan, for them, they're just like, we'll just wait. We'll just wait until we see a hole, and then we go through that hole. And that's basically what they were doing in this game as well. The game was going, and it felt like even the first half, there was just nothing really. Both of them were just going back and forth. There wasn't really much happening. And then the second half, Kane gets that goal. Once Kane scores that goal, and the goal was really good. It was like a real striker goal. It goes right between the leg of the defender, and for the goalkeeper, usually it's very hard for them to see those kind of balls. So Kane gets those striker goals. He gets the goal, and you're thinking, oh, is this it? Are they going to try to make a comeback or whatever? Immediately, 6 minutes later, Martinez scores a goal. Like, it's right in front. It was one of those set pieces. Boom, it's a goal. So at this point, you're thinking, no way. I think after the second goal, Bayern felt that maybe this is not the year. This is just not it. You know what I'm saying? And then to make it worse, Benjamin Pavard, he used to play for Bayern, and he was one of Bayern's best defenders. They sold him to Inter Milan. Don't know why. Big mistake. And the guy scores his first goal ever for the club against his older club. And at this point, once that goal was in, you're thinking, it's over. Like, it doesn't even matter. Even if they scored again, they still have to score 2 goals. And the way the game was going, it just didn't look like that was going to happen. As the game was going on, at the 76th minute, Eric Geyer gets a header. A great header, by the way, okay? But nevertheless, it was too late. The game ends with 2-2, aggregate 4-3. Inter Milan comes through. And well-deserved, you know? The only sad part about this whole thing is that this is the last Champions League game for Muller, for Bayern. So that's pretty sad, okay? Hopefully some way he can stay another European team. But yeah, this could be the last game for Muller in the Champions League. Man, time is changing. Okay, let's get to the next game. Aston Villa and PSG. This was another scary game. This was like the Dortmund Barcelona game in the sense that it was done and dusted. I said it loud and clear. I was like, Aston Villa's the first team out, you know? Because I felt that Aston Villa was fighting above their pay grade, as they would say, right? But, going back to their home, I just felt that PSG was just too strong. I mean, they're one of the favorites, so I just thought they were just too strong to even have any kind of contest. I assume Aston Villa was going to score 1 or 2 goals, but I also assume that PSG was also going to score 1 or 2 goals as well, right? But this game had even more than that, okay? So let's just look at the statistic of the game. So the stats of the game was Aston Villa had 17 shots, 9 of them were on target. PSG had 14 shots, 7 on target. And PSG had pretty much 66 possession of the game. That should tell you a lot, honestly. Sometimes statistics don't matter, and this is one of those games where statistics doesn't matter at all because Aston Villa was fantastic, okay? I assumed they were going to just get a goal, grab and smash and come back and defend again. That's what I thought. But this whole game was completely wide open from both sides, What Barcelona's approach was to try to maintain the game and hold the ball and defend more than attack. For PSG, all they were doing is to get as much goals as they can to the point that they left the game wide open to the point they would have been out. You get what I mean? There's too much conservative and there's too much attacking. And that was the two differences between the two big teams. So like for PSG, right at the kickoff, you felt that PSG wanted to score way more goals. They want to keep going. I think the partnership between McCain and Tielemans has been amazing this season for them. I mean, again, this guy is a true captain. So these two just in the middle have been bossing it. Tielemans is having one of his best season, going all the way back to 2015 when he was playing for Leicester. That's kind of the season he's having. So he's been great. And then you just have Rashford up front over there. And Rashford is also trying to, re-identify himself. But for some reason, I don't know why they're not starting Asensio. So Rodgers in there, obviously, because he scored a goal last game. But I don't know. I just feel like if they can have Asensio in there, this would have been better. Is Asensio injured or something? I don't know what the caution is. I mean, he comes in later in the game. But anyway, so Asensio is not in there. Rodgers. So anyway, Aston Villa is looking good. And they're ready to attack. That's the way they look. And on the other side for PSG, they're pretty much the same. You get what I'm saying? You got Dembele leading the line. You got the midfield, still all of them there. The defense, Marquinhos is back. That's the difference. He wasn't there in the first leg. He's back. And I don't know if that's even made them better. I would argue that he didn't make them better. He made them worse. That's my argument. Okay. So, but anyway, so as the game is going on, the kickoff starts. PSG again just flying colors. Okay, they're trying to get as goal as they can. They get a goal immediately in 11 minutes of the game. Great connection from across, and then Martinez kind of like fumbles the ball, and Hakimi was there to benefit from it. He gets a goal, and now it's 1, and now PSG are up 1. Okay, so at this point you're like, okay, now the aggregate is 4-1. This is getting a little spicy. Like, it's pretty much over. That's what you're thinking, like it's over. And not just that, less than 15 minutes later, they get another goal. And you know who scores the second goal? Mendy. The two left and right back, they both scored a goal. So at this point, you're thinking, it's over. Like, we're done here. Done, dusted. Game over. Let's wrap it up. And out of nowhere, Aston Villa wakes up. They're started really, really attacking at that point. And then Tielemans gets that great goal. Once Tielemans scored that goal, the whole crowd erupted. You're thinking, we might have something here, okay? So they're going back and forth. First half ends. Second half starts. And Aston Villa kicks it off. 10 minutes in the second half, John McGain gets a solid goal. A great strike, a screamer, okay? A screamer. And then now you're thinking, whoa, we have something here. We got something going. 2 minutes later, another great play by Rashford on the corner. Just silky smooth dribbling. And then cut back. Boom. We are at 3-2. Aston Villa is winning. And all they need is one more goal. And we have ourselves a game. Okay? I mean, it's nuts. It's nuts at this point. But the thing is, PSG is also going all out. So the whole game was just wide open. Like, either team could have scored, and either team had a bunch of chances to score. There's a lot of times where PSG were getting into offside trap because how high Aston Villa's came. Aston Villa was taking the risk, okay? But sadly, that just wasn't enough. They couldn't come through. They lost. PSG wins, comes through, and they'll be playing Arsenal. Okay, let's go to the last game. The last game is Real Madrid versus Arsenal. Okay, this was the big game. As you know, that Real Madrid is playing at home and they tend to come back from home. That's kind of something they just do. Okay, and they were going online. They were letting you know about that as well. You have Bellingham saying the most word used in the dressing room in the last days is "come back" in Spanish. Okay, so that's what he's saying. And then you have Vinicius typing in tomorrow at 9 p.m. Ooh, with the cold emoji. You had Rodri saying, see you tomorrow, okay? You have Ancelotti posting about a great comeback. Like, they were just kind of talking a lot of smack. And I always say, you just don't talk smack. If you can't back it up, don't talk the smack. And that's what they were doing. Real Madrid players were talking to smack. And I believe the Arsenal players were keeping that in mind, okay? And they were keeping that in mind. Anyway, so coming to this game, you're assuming that we're going to see the Real Madrid, not the Madrid that we've been seeing in the La Liga. We're going to see the real one. Kylian Mbappe here, he's only here for the Champions League. But I said it last time, there was just no way I thought Real Madrid was going to come back in this game because the way they were playing this whole season was not a team that can come back from a 3-goal down. They're just not that team this year. And a lot has to do with their defense. Their defense is just not a defense that can keep goals out. They just don't. That's just not where they're at. Okay? Same with their midfield. The midfield structure is just not fully there as well because they're using some of the midfielders to play in the back because how much there's no defenders. This game, they finally brought Valverde up to the middle, but this guy's been playing in the back. I feel like he needs some more time to really get into that midfield mindset, not in a game like this. So anyway, the stats of the game was Real Madrid had 18 shots. They only had 3 on target. Arsenal had 11 shots, 6 on target. Real Madrid had 67% possession of the game, and it didn't even feel like that. Like, if you watch the game, it felt that they were doing nothing with those possessions. They were doing absolutely nothing. I mean, they were on lacked, okay? Vinicius, credit to him, he was doing everything he could. He was doing most of the dribbling. He was going at the defenders, but it never came out to anything. They literally had only 3 shots on target. A team like Arsenal, who only had like 33 possession, they had 6 shots on target. You get what I'm saying? It was just not. They were just not in the same world. And I think that Arsenal took that personal, what these Madrid players were saying about coming back, and they really showed them that you're not that good. You're not who you think you are. That's basically what they told them. You're not it. Okay. So as the game kicked off, it felt that nothing was really going to happen. I wouldn't have been surprised if this game ended with 1-1 or nothing to nothing. That's what it looked like. Like I said, Madrid was just not a defense that's capable of stopping Arsenal from scoring, but Arsenal was a defense that was capable of stopping Real Madrid from scoring. I said that. Especially the first half, it was quite boring. Like, it was quite boring. It was just back and forth. Mistakes here, dribbling here. They were just kind of maintaining, they were just coming back and forth in the middle. So second half starts. You're thinking, if you haven't scored a goal in the first half, the comeback is not happening. Okay? And then as the game is going, you're seeing that Kylian Mbappe gets hurt. And he gets hurt by trying to hurt somebody. And there's a whole controversy about this weekend when he gets a red card. He got a red card because he almost tried to break a guy's leg. Okay? He was almost trying to break a guy's leg, and we all assumed that he was going to get at least 3 matches banned. At least 3 match. And then it comes around, he only gets 1 match ban. And everybody was quite upset about that because similar tackles that happens with other players, they get 5 matches banned. It's just not fair. That's the way people look at it. So that aggressive style, he kind of the same way how he got hurt here. He was trying to go really hard on Declan Rice, end up hurting himself. And he's out. And I'm going to say this. He should have been at least 3 games banned. That was ridiculous. Like, anybody who's trying to defend that foul, just say you're biased. You don't care about the right calls or not. You just pretty much biased. And it's fine to be biased, but be honest about it. Because anybody who's objectively looking at this can easily say, dude, this was terrible. Like, I think it was Correas. Correas had similar, not even this bad, okay? And he was 5 games banned. And this is when people talk about the favoritism for Real Madrid when it comes to refereeing. This is why. So that was going on. That allure was going on. So coming in this game, I felt like that also came with it. Because even the ref who made that call, the way he explained his decision didn't even make sense. Okay? Because he said there was no intent. And really, it doesn't even have to be intent. But again, this is another thing too. What is it? Referees kind of just do what a referee feels like doing. They make calls like these all the time, to be fair. And sometimes the referee's on the right side, sometimes the referee's on the wrong side. This is a time where I believe the referee was on the wrong side, but whatever. Anyway, never mind that. So coming in this game, that allure was there. Like, Madrid always gets the favor of the refs. That kind of allure was there. So as the game is going on, Arsenal gets a penalty. And they get a penalty that usually they would never call it a penalty. Usually they don't. They should. This was a clear penalty because Asante was holding the player. So it should have been a clear penalty. But most of the time, they let this go. But anyway, for some reason, somehow, they get the penalty. And Saka misses the penalty. Saka misses the penalty. Okay? So when Saka misses that penalty, you're assuming maybe there's something on the wall that Madrid is supposed to come back. Okay? And that was the first half. But nothing happened. So anyway, the second half started and still nothing's going on. But Arsenal is slowly creeping in. And finally, they make a great connection. Saka gets the redemption. Okay? He chips the ball over Courtois. And then now is 1-0. Saka feels redeemed. And everybody's pretty much like, it's over. We're done here. Aggregate is 4-0. There's no way Madrid is making a comeback at the 65 minute with 4 goals down. And they knew it too. It was to a point where Arsenal defense kind of dropped their guard. They dropped their guard and Vinicius came out of nowhere, get a goal. He gets a goal and he's celebrating like he's about to get a comeback going here. We're at the 67 minutes of the game. At this point, aggregate is 4-1. And Vinicius is like, this is it. We're coming back. He's kissing the badge and everything. But sadly, that wasn't the case. Okay? As the game going on, the game just keeps dragging. Vinicius is doing as much as he can. Madrid starts making the change, take players out, bring new players in. Nothing's happening. As the game is going on, at the 90-plus minute, when Madrid pretty much gave up, and this is what Madrid does to people, other teams usually give up, and then Madrid kind of attacks them on the last counter-attacks, like 90-minute games. But they were the ones who got it this time. Great ball, okay? Martinelli, I think he deserved it. I mean, this guy has been working hard, and I think a goal was deserved. And he gets a goal, great run, 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper, and the game is over. And that's it. Madrid is out. Arsenal comes through, and now they play PSG. So this is gonna be great. So it's gonna be PSG versus Barcelona and Inter Milan. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I'd rather play Inter Milan than Bayern. Not because I think Bayern are better, but it's just simply like for Barcelona's side, they've been playing the same teams. Like even throughout this tournament, we have been playing the same team. We played Benfica twice. We played Dortmund twice. I would hate to play Bayern again. You know, let's mix it up. Let's mix it up. You know, so Inter Milan is a great one, and they're worthy. I'll say that. You know, I mean, we're at the last four teams. Any of these teams can win the cup. Any of these teams can win, and any of these teams can go to the final as well. But if I had to pick Barcelona versus Inter Milan, obviously I'm saying Barcelona. They're my favorites to win this season. And then on the other side for PSG and Arsenal, that's a very hard one because Arsenal already beat PSG on the first leg, and Arsenal has a great defend, but PSG doesn't have that much of a good defend. So I'm gonna go with the Gunners. Okay, what 21 Savage said? Gotta see the Gunner win the Premier League, but instead we gotta see the Gunners win the Champion League. Okay, are they gonna win? I mean, they could. Again, it's a very real thing. Anyway, I'm gonna end it there, and I would appreciate if you dropped a like and comment for the algorithm. Yeah, thank you.